If you have received your green card through your marriage, but you are either separated from your spouse or facing potential separation, or you're just considering kind of the possible end of your relationship, first of all, I'm really sorry that you're going through such a stressful time. And I'm also super glad that you clicked on this video, because this is one of the most common myths and fears that we hear from people, is that they think they have to stay in the relationship or pretend that they're still in the relationship in order to keep their green card, because they're so afraid of having to go back to their home country. And it's absolutely not true. We have helped a ton of people in this situation. It's an unfortunate situation that does happen sometimes. It's a small, percentage of the overall number of relationships, but if it happens to you, I know it can be a really devastating time in your life. And it does not mean that you have to lose your immigration status at all. So let's talk about the process of how you get to keep your green card and what you definitely have to do right away if you're in this situation. So basically, typically when people have received a green card through a marriage that's less than 2 years old at the time they receive their green card, they are going to have to go through a process called removal of conditions. And that happens in the 90 days before that 2-year card expires. So if you're facing the removal of conditions process and your relationship has broken down, you have to do a different process. So most, people who are still in their relationship will basically jointly file this removal of conditions application with their spouse. But what you'll need to do is a different process that's called a waiver of the joint filing requirement. And so this is a pretty non-standard type of application. It's not something where you just fill out a form and send it in. I mean, there is a form, of course, there's always a form, it's immigration. But this is a pretty delicate type of case where you're definitely going to want to have a lawyer. We're pretty straightforward with people about this. Is the sort of case where you're really going to want a lawyer's assistance to make a very good legal argument for you so that you can stay in the United States. Now, there are a few different types of arguments that we can make that different legal bases for allowing you to remove your conditions without your spouse's help. The most common one is if you've gotten divorced and the relationship didn't work out, but at the beginning, you intended for it to work out. It was a real relationship that just did not work out. If you can prove those two things, that's the most common legal basis for getting the conditions removed without your spouse. There are also other bases, including if you have been the victim of abuse in your relationship, or if your spouse has passed away, or if you are facing a very extremely difficult situation in your home country. Like if it would be dangerous to you, if you had to return to your home country, you would face a very difficult hardship in that case. Those are also reasons that we can use. And sometimes we even use more than one basis. So you may have gotten divorced and it was an abusive relationship, and we'll try for multiple bases because we want to have, as much option as we can. So basically what we do with a client who's in this situation is we will talk with you about how the relationship broke down, exactly what happened, and we will try to get a bunch of evidence together, and we'll make a legal argument that you meet one of those standards. We submit that to immigration. There will be an interview in person. It won't be with your spouse. It will just be with you, and your lawyer can be present also. And they're basically going to ask you about, all of the information that you provided in the application. But if it's prepared properly and you're telling the truth and it's really done correctly, we actually have a very, very high rate of success on these cases. So for whatever reason, it seems like in the immigrant community, people just don't think this is possible, and everyone's just constantly advising people to stay in these abusive relationships, or they're separated and they're trying to hide it, and there's just no reason to do that. It's already enough of a traumatic experience to go through if your relationship has unfortunately broken down, and there's a legal way to handle that. So please contact us if you're in that situation. We represent people in all 50 states in the United States, specifically marriage-based immigration, and definitely including waivers of the joint filing requirement for removal of conditions, because sometimes you just need that. You need someone that has your back. So hopefully that provides you with some good information. One other thing I definitely want to mention, super important about the filing time frame. So typically when you're filing jointly with your spouse, you would file within the 90 days before your green card expires. In the case where the marriage breaks down before you even get to that period, you can actually file it at any time. So maybe you're only 6 months or a year into the relationship when it breaks down. You should start working on that process now. Don't wait until it's about to expire. Get in contact with a reliable lawyer now, whether it's us or another reliable immigration lawyer that has experience specifically in this area, to make sure it's taken care of correctly so that you don't have to have any more impact on your life from having gone through this situation.